So hello everybody, it's Daniela Quintero and Hawk Cedeño. Today in an interview in which we're gonna tackle the topic implications of not using mother tongue in class. So for that, Hawk, please.
Hello, Daniela. Well, I have a question for you. How does not using mother tongue affect literacy of EFL students' learning?
Well, due to the fact that a student's mother tongue reflects their identity, I think that not using a mother tongue can affect the student's literacy because it limits the development of the cognitive skills to enhance self-confidence and self-esteem. In other words, the development of the skills needed to get academic proficiency go hand in hand with students' confidence. And it can only be developed when students are understood and guided in the basic years of education. For instance, if students haven't developed the reading skills in their native language, how could they develop reading comprehension in a second language? Therefore, the use of mother tongue in early years of education is crucial to ensure that EFO learners acquire a strong foundations skills in literacy. Likewise, I think that teachers also play an important role in this process. So teachers must know the student's language and culture. So all these can facilitate both the development of a student's skills and also the teaching practices in the classroom. Now that I mentioned teachers in this learning process, uh, the strategies, the techniques that they use are important. So, Huck, which do you think are the strategies teachers can use to help these groups, to help these minorities in their learning process?
Okay, well, teachers who work with these students who struggle because they use another mother tongue should live in the community, I think, and learn the language. Why? Because according to Global Education Monitoring, teachers should teach children in a language that they can understand. Additionally, this statement can be related to the emotive function of the language. In other words, to impress their students through emotional connections. And in addition to this, the video about the importance of your mother tongue by Jesus manifests that when people use the language of the other speaker, they go straight to the heart. That means they talk in a way they communicate effectively to the other speaker. And another strategy that teachers can apply is the use of inclusive materials related to the context of the students, whether it's cultural or social. Now, there is another thing that I want to ask you, Daniela. Do you think poverty and ethnicity are factors of not using the mother tongue of the students, and why?
Yes, actually, yes. As you mentioned before, materials and the environment that the teacher provides students to learn a new language are important in this process. So, poor students or students who live in poor conditions and indigenous don't have these opportunities. Maybe they don't have the materials that you mentioned. Maybe they don't have the place or the person who can help them in their learning process. So, so I can give you two reasons for these factors, for these two two groups that are not using the mother tongue in the class. And the first reason is because the benefits of bilingual and multilingual programs are not commonly offered by public schools. So you mentioned materials, and I mentioned also the teachers. The thing is that paying a teacher, a bilingual or multilingual teacher, is very expensive. And sometimes, you know, public schools are the government doesn't have like the willing or the or let's say willing to invest in this important aspect that is education. So maybe these programs are not affordable for this group of people because of the cost. Okay, and also I think that people who speak a minority language at home belong to a small percentage of population in Ecuador. And for that reason, it is very difficult to identify and create educational institutions that require that special assistance. I got this information from the, this is a web page, EIWGIA in 2021, in which it says that there are 14 indigenous nationalities, totaling nearly 1,100,000 inhabitants, grouped into a number of local, regional, and national organizations. So that means that this group is not that big. So that's why not using L1 in different areas is not like more like very common in the educational setting talking. And now that we have tackled this thing about the poverty and the ethnicity, I'd like to know, Hawk, if you consider that despite all these things, these advantages that we have in these groups, teachers play an important role, as I said before. So do you think that teachers need special qualifications to deal with this problem in society? And if so, can you tell me which qualifications should teachers have to be part of this inclusive education?
Well, as you said before, even though the prices of hiring a bilingual or even multilingual teacher are high, I think this is the first qualification that teachers who deal with these students should have, because they could be communicating with their students in their mother tongues. Moreover, they should be aware of the functions of the language, especially the communicative function that is related to the context of the student. In that way, they're going to create awareness in their students because they're going to use the mother tongue in the classroom. But on the other hand, we can also have a teaching assistant program, which is related to my next question. According to your opinion, how can teachers can be helped by the government of Ecuador?
Well,
in the way that, you know, there is a way that we can help Quechua students in the EFL classroom, especially in the Highland region. How can teachers promote the use of Quechua in EFL classroom in the Highland region? That is my specific question for you.
I strongly believe that if you want to use a language in Quechua in this case, in an EFL classroom, and you want it to be successful, I strongly believe that students need inclusive and relevant learning materials, as you mentioned before. And that learning material should be familiar with them. So that means that should be in their mother tongue. Therefore, teachers can use educational resources and new technology that match students' needs and can help them in their learning process. Now that we have technology, we can create apps, we can look for information on the net, we can give students we can use links, we can use pages, we can use many things on the net so that we can promote the use of that language, in this case, Quechua, in our classes. For instance, technology makes learning materials more widely available. So we can include in this opportunity all the local languages. Believe me, Irene knows more about Quechua than you and me, so that is a great tool for us to use in class. And that is the way we can promote learning a language and develop the skills for a specific language. And also, I have to say that in all this process, the government also plays an important role. So investment is important. And the government can also do other things. And here it comes, my last question for you about the government. How do you think the government can promote this inclusive education in the Ecuador, the use of these languages in Ecuador?
Well, as I said before, there is an opportunity in hiring bilingual teaching assistants from the community, and these people should be able to help the teacher in the classroom and use their mother tongues. In addition to this, the government can prepare teachers for having extra classes to reinforce the literacy of the students who speak different mother tongues. Like these could be like extracurricular programs. That's my opinion about this topic.
Okay, Huck, thank you very much. I think we finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you too.